For the first time in 2 years, it was back to Lydden for the Super Saloons and TinTops. A combined grid produced 17 cars, which is a reasonable number for a short circuit. Qualifying took place in very wet conditions, so much so that the first 2 laps took place behind the safety car. Once the field was unleashed, it was then a question of getting a clear lap and having the right setup. In the end, it was Paul Watson who just edged out Dave Avis, both in their BMWs. Third quickest, albeit 2.5 seconds back, was Jake's Whitehead, with the quickest TinTop in the hands of Chris Bassett, lining up 4th. 5th was Martin Reynolds in his MK2 Ford Escort from Neil Gardner's Honda Civic. Rod Birley headed row 4 in Phil Bennett's BMW E90 with James Hunt's BMW alongside. Martin Scott and Sam Hayward rounded out the top 10. Adrian Matthews' Volvo C30 was next up from an on-form Ian Seal. Then it was Lee Clue in his Audi TT. Completing the grid, it was Rick Skelzy's BMW 325, Bob Hosier's Seat Leon, Ken Angell returning with a new engine in his BMW, and Terry Waller's Ford Fiesta. The first race took place on a completely dry track and saw a storming start from Bassett to challenge Watson for the lead. The number 33 Peugeot soon hit the front as the orange BMW came under pressure from the white version driven by Avis. Unfortunately, it all ended when Avis clumped the barrier, exiting the Devil's Elbow. The resulting red flag negated the first part. The second instalment saw Bassett lead away with Whitehead jumping into second. These two pulled clear of Watson, who had his mirrors full with Reynolds. Gardner held 5th from Scott as Hunt and Birley battled over 7th. On lap 5, Rod got the better of James with a move around the outside at Chesson's Drift. Meanwhile, Whitehead was piling the pressure on Bassett, and on lap 7 he momentarily appeared in front, only to spin exiting Paddock Bend. The green BMW ended up on the infield, but was unable to restart. So Bassett took a momentous win, being the first TinTop to win outright a combined race with the Super Saloons. Watson got back in front of Reynolds to take 2nd overall and the Class B win. With Gardner a good 4th in his TinTop Honda, Scott was pleased to win Class D and take 5th overall, with Birley 6th winning Class A. Hunt winning Class C, just holding off Matthews, as Hosier managed the same against Angell, who won Class T1. 11th overall went to Lee Clue, who headed a close group comprising Waller, Hayward and Skelzy. Seal completed the finishes by winning Class TP. Race 2 was without Avis, with a broken track rod arm. But Whitehead joined in at the back of the grid. Again, it was a race in 2 halves. The first attempt ended when 3 cars exited the hairpin and came side by side down Hairy Hill. A slight movement from Hunt, possibly reacting to Whitehead coming past on his left, saw contact with Hosier. Sadly, the Seat crashed into the tyres, scattering them across the track. Part 2 saw Reynolds make a cracking getaway from row 2, and by the end of the first lap, he was in the lead from Bassett. The Escort driver then slowly edged clear to take victory. 2 years ago, Martin was also triumphant, so he clearly likes Lydden. Bassett settled for 2nd, again winning the TinTops section. Meanwhile, Watson soon started to struggle with tyre issues. The abrasive surface was taking its toll, and the BMW was soon under pressure from Gardner. However, before Neil could find a way past, he was joined by Whitehead. The green BMW soon deposed both Gardner and Watson to go 3rd. A lap later, the Honda was back up to 4th, as Paul fell back into the clutches of Scott and Birley. Again, these two easily picked off the alien BMW, which pulled off a couple of laps later with tyres down to the canvas. As the laps ticked off, Hunt's BMW dropped back with deteriorating grip. This meant that Matthews had an easier run in 7th as Angell took another T1 win in 8th. Hayward went better to claim 9th as Hunt ended up 10th. The finishes were completed by Waller, Skelzy, Clue and Seal. The AFR Media TinTop Award went to Hayward, who had a rather challenging day. Whitehead picked up the BMR Driver of the Day prize, and the Phil Bennett-owned BMW, driven by Birley, got the Caesar Electrical Best Prepared Car trophy.